Hi, my name is Inder, and I have the pleasure of being here with Eleni at the First Unitarian Church. And I think she's got some questions for me, so
Yes.
Eleni, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, great. Inder, thank you very much for talking with me. I've been an admirer for you for the last year, noticing that you're taking up an important case.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you could tell us what you do. You're a lawyer here
Yeah.
in San Francisco, and then how did it come you started to take such an important case, and if you could describe it to us.
Sure, absolutely. So I practice here in San Francisco. I have my own private firm, and I represent a client who's seeking accountability over the Iraq War. And so she's suing former high-ranking members of the Bush administration, alleging that their conduct amounted to what's called aggression under international law, and that's a principle that comes to us from the Nuremberg trials. So she's asking this federal court here in San Francisco to apply Nuremberg-era precedent on these 6 defendants who are the 6 high-ranking members of the Bush administration. They include George W. Bush, ex-Vice President Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, and Paul Wolfowitz. She's asking this court to look at their conduct leading up to the war and seeing if there was any wrongdoing that might have been committed.
Fantastic. And this is a criminal or civil case?
It's a civil case, so she's suing for her damages. She's a refugee now. She lives in Jordan, and she sustained heavy damage when she left Iraq, lost her home, lost her job, was threatened numerous times, and now she lives as a refugee in Iraq. So she's suing for any damage that she sustained, just like anyone would in a personal injury case. If you were hit in a car accident, you'd have the right to seek redress. She lost a lot of her livelihood because of the war, so she's applying that same civil platform, that same idea of civil liability to these people.
Fantastic. And she also represents a class action? Or?
Yes, so it's a putative class action. That means she'll be the lead plaintiff for any Iraqi civilian victim who suffered. And so she's asking this court to analyze whether the war was illegal, and if it was, to impose liability against anyone who suffered because of the illegal conduct.
Fantastic. And so how did you get in contact with her, and why are you doing this?
So I'm doing it because, I'm inspired by her, and I'm inspired by her courage and wanting to take this issue public. Why I'm doing it is, I was very inspired growing up at the law school, learning about Nuremberg, and about the Nuremberg trials, and about the fact that so many years ago the Americans put their enemies on trial, and they gave them a lawyer and due process and all the rest, and put together these very important legal principles. One of them being that countries cannot commit aggression against each other. They're obligated to kind of seek peaceful resolution of their disputes. And what I'm hoping to do with the case is to highlight this precedent from Nuremberg and to ask this court to remember Nuremberg, to look back at history, to apply this precedent to a modern situation in a way that I think the Nuremberg prosecutors would have wanted.
Fantastic. Now, you're a really young lawyer,
Yeah.
and you're kind of taking on this huge case that's
Right.
international,
Yeah.
that's against formerly very powerful people. How do you feel about doing that, and do you get scared or discouraged?
I don't, because this is an issue I'm very passionate about, and I know that what I'm doing it feels good, it feels right, and it feels like it's the right thing to do, and so that's inspiring to me. I don't really worry about how it looks or the power issues or what's going to happen. It feels like it's the right thing to do, and I'm inspired to do it because I believe in it. And I think regardless of what happens, it'll at least force a judge to think as to whether Nuremberg still applies today. So I think regardless of what happened legally, there'll be some good effects in terms of precedent, and it'll make people think about these issues.
Yeah.
I think it's very important.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, during your speech, you were talking about here at Code Pink, you were talking about how it's important for us to be able to hold our leaders accountable,
Yeah.
hold ourselves accountable,
Yeah.
be honest with each other. Could
Yeah.
you talk about what you saw with Bush and his team and how they took the decision to take us to war?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of unknowns, and that's the biggest problem, is we don't know whether that decision was made in good faith or not. We don't know if there was lies that were told, misrepresentations. We don't know how deep this went, and I think there has yet to be a court that has analyzed that issue. We have a right and a duty and an obligation to hold our leaders accountable and to be given honest information from our leaders. That's critical, because the moment we stop getting honest information, then we as citizens can't make good faith decisions as to the threats or the dangers that may or may not be out there.
That's right, and we always have to live in fear, right?
And we have
so
to live
it's
in
kind
fear,
of
right?
believing every fearful thing,
Right.
Because in essence, we never found mass, weapons of mass
were never
destruction.
found. Yeah,
so it
exactly
was
right.
okay. And what would you tell us when the case is being heard?
Sure, there'll be a hearing April 3rd, 2 p.m. here in San Francisco at the San Francisco Federal Court. Very excited. It'll be the first time since World War II that the issue of aggression will be before a court.
Fantastic. And if you had one request that you would request from us, your fellow Americans, your fellow global citizens, what would you ask us?
I think it's so important to just imagine a world where we can live peaceably and under law. And we have to hold that idea very close and dear to us. The moment we lose that, we've lost everything. But if people can at least maintain that in their heads, it allows people like me or others to approach courts and to request that we have laws and rules that adhere to what people really want. And so I don't think it's ever hopeless, or I don't think it's ever too late to keep the faith and to remember that there are rules in place that promote peace, and we should seek to honor them.
Super. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Yeah, it was a real
pleasure.
Yeah, okay, thanks a lot.